A Cambridge University astronomer and scientist by the name of Niku Madhusudan has just come out to say that he believes he has found alien life on another planet that goes by the name of K2-18b. Alright, now, this guy is so well accredited that when I saw this, I did a bit of background research on this guy, and he's got all the credentials. So he is a professor of astrophysics and exoplanetary science at the Institute of Astronomy, University of Cambridge. He is credited with developing a technique of astropheric retrieval to infer the compositions of exoplanets, and with coining the term Hycean planet to describe a theorized class of planet which hosts a liquid water ocean beneath a hydrogen-rich atmosphere. Right, this guy is the shit when it comes to this kind of thing. Now, he was on a recent interview with LBC News. Now, I didn't know about this. I don't follow LBC News, but it popped up on my feed. I literally just searched aliens when I was looking for a topic to research for today's video, and this came up, and I was like, what? Are you sure? But then I started watching it, and boy, was I sure by the end of it. And you're going to be sure as well, and this could be pretty balmy. Now, the title of the video is The Cambridge Scientist Who Thinks He Just Discovered Alien Life. Pretty good title. Let's get into it.
This is the story of the week for me, this. Imagine being Professor Niku. Professor Niku is an astrophysicist at Cambridge University. Picture the scene. Professor Niku is quietly studying the data gathered on yet another exoplanet, discovered some unfathomably far distance away from Earth. And as Professor Niku stares at the data of yet another exoplanet in yet another solar system, they notice something. This is where the suspenseful music would come in during the Netflix episode of this discovery. The professor stares harder at the data. It can't be, he says. Is it life? The James Webb Space Telescope is set to turn its gaze towards a distant planet, K2-18b, in another solar system, to investigate one of the most tantalizing hints of alien life ever discovered.
Now, I made a video not too long ago about K2-18b and how the James Webb Telescope discovered this hydrogen-rich band of wonderfulness, which could, and basically methane, which is only created by humans, and these other gases that are also only created by humans. And basically, we put two and two together and we're like, whoa, this could host literal human life, or, life of some kind. Let's get back into the video, though.
This, folks, could be it. And our protagonist, the scientist who may have discovered life out there in the universe, is Professor Niku Madhusudan, Professor of Astrophysics and Exoplanetary Science at the University of Cambridge, who joins me live. Thank you very much indeed for coming on the programme. Right, I think we've got the deeds to your life stories sewn up here. We now own the rights to this. Tell us where and when you found this.
So last year, we had some JWST observations with the James Webb Space Telescope of this planet, its atmosphere, and we detected for the first time ever carbon-bearing molecules like methane and CO2 in its atmosphere, and did not detect other molecules like ammonia, which said that it's likely to have an ocean underneath the atmosphere. But we also saw a tentative sign of this molecule dimethyl sulfide, which we weren't sure. But still, even the very possibility of it being there is enormous.
This is amazing. Now, if you go back to the video that I made not too long ago on the channel, I can't remember what it's titled now. I'm just going to find it quickly. But basically, I went over this and spoke about how the James Webb Telescope literally has absolutely gone and done it again and found us some alien life. Because these gases can only be created by people, all right? Or what we thought could only be created by people. Living beings, let's say. So there's no reason for these things to be here unless there's something on this planet, K2-18b, that is literally producing these gases. It's crazy. I can't find the video,
So
by the way.
this is dimethyl sulfide.
Yeah.
That's the important gas. And why is that gas so important?
Here we go.
It's important because on Earth, it is produced only from life, mainly from microorganisms in the Earth's oceans. And it has been known to be a robust biomarker if detected in planetary environments. And it had been predicted to be so. and we had been looking for it, and that's why it's super important.
How much of it is there? Can you tell?
So we are not 100% sure yet. It could be anywhere of the order of a part per million. So
Is that a lot?
but it's a lot for that particular gas. On Earth, it would be like significantly lower than that.
Oh, really? So we actually have lower amounts of dimethyl sulfide on Earth than could be present on this particular planet. Wow.
Absolutely, yeah.
Wow.
Does that not say it all? Does that not scream that there is life somewhere, some kind of organism, even if it is a microorganism that's producing this gas on this planet? This is something that needs to be looked into so much further.
And what I love is your description, as I've read it, Professor, in one of the newspapers today, of when you found this, when you realised that this gas might be present there. So talk us through that.
No, it's a profound activity, this search for biomarkers elsewhere, because the ramifications to society are enormous. So even if we detect the molecule, we have to be really, really sure that it's there, and we have to be really sure it's from life on another planet. There are many false positives that can happen. But the prospect of that being there has enormous ramifications, because the search for life elsewhere has been one of the longest standing quest of our species, of humankind. So if this is when it's going to come true finally, that's a momentous occasion, and we don't take it lightly.
So I read that you couldn't sleep for a week. Is that right?
Yeah, that is correct. So for a week, because it hits you hard when you see the possibility of such a big discovery. It for a scientist, it's quite enormous.
Now, that should scream volumes, right? This guy has made this discovery. He's looked at it and he's like, wow, this is something. And then he's not slept for a week due to excitement off the back of this. Does that not tell you everything that we need to know about this? Like, this could be absolutely momentous for not only finding alien life, right? But also potentially finding a planet that could also support or sustain human life. Like, wow.
This planet is quite big as well, isn't it? Is it 2.5 times the size of Earth, something like that?
That's correct, yes.
Yeah. And you think that because this gas exists, the presence of water is there, oceans are there, and therefore the life that would be giving off this gas will be residing somewhere on some faraway planet's ocean floor?
Yeah, the evidence for the oceans comes from other gases that we have actually detected robustly, the methane and carbon dioxide, and we did not detect ammonia. That combination tells us that it very likely has an ocean. We need more observations to confirm that, but the ocean narrative is very much possible. And then if we detect this gas, you put all of these components together, says that there could be microorganisms on an ocean world elsewhere.
Dumb question, Professor. So you make this discovery, you see this in the data, you think, oh my God, who'd you ring? Who'd you tell? How do you what chain is there to get this to the top of the chain to say, guys, I think I've discovered life?
Well, it took me about a week to muster the courage to even think that that's anywhere close to real and break it to my own group, my own students working with me. So you don't ring anyone, you're just shell-shocked for a while, and then we slowly all come together and work on it for many more months weeks and months before we robustly establish it, and then you publish it and so on.
Now, that's another brilliant thing that he raises there is, obviously he shared it with his students and his peers, and then it's peer-reviewed, which means that, if you don't know what peer review is, I'm sure you do, but I'm not teaching you to suck eggs, but it's where, scientists will give their work to other scientists to look over it to see if there's any irregularities, inaccuracies, vet the work to make sure that it is 100% accurate and bulletproof before publishing their findings. And peer review is probably more important than the actual finding itself. Obviously, the finding's important, it's the foundation, but the peer review, that's where it's really crucial, because you might miss something that someone else who specialises in maybe another field of science might see, and vice versa, and then you literally pass it around the houses, and then once you've got a full sustained picture, you can publish it with full findings. It's amazing.
And to the extent that the James Webb Telescope is, as we speak, looking at this particular exoplanet K2-18b to see what images it can get of it.
Yeah, it just happened this morning actually. So it has already done it early this morning. So we have the observations. They're beaming in right now. So we're waiting for the data to come to us, and the analysis will start anytime now.
Wow. So how long is it going to take to fully analyze this?
So we will obviously take our time to do very careful analysis. So it's going to be months before we can say anything for sure.
What do you put the chances of having found life?
At this stage, I would say 50-50.
Wow, that high?
Yeah, I mean, that's purely going by what the data has been telling us in the past and what we know from theory. It could be 50-50. It is very high, I know, but that's what the data says.
Again, dumb question, but I think context matters here. Have there been other situations, other discoveries where they've said, right, we think this is 50-50, we think this is about as close as we've ever been to discovering it?
Not on an exoplanet, never. Not a planet outside the solar system.
That's incredible. I think, Professor, you are a couple of months away from being perhaps the most famous person in the world.
Well, I mean, I would like to find what the truth is, and I will leave it there. And that's my number one duty here. And we'll see how it turns out.
Well, listen, as and when you've got the information in, as and when you think you're ready to go, could one of the calls please be to us, just so we can have first dibs on telling the world that you've discovered life out there?
So I will say that it won't come so easy, in the sense that we won't get a detection of life with one other observation. It'll probably take us closer to truth, and then that'll set off in motion a number of other studies, theoretical and observational. And like all good science, it'll be gradual. It'll not be like an immediate result. But every step that takes us closer to truth is a huge step forward, and that's what I'm looking forward to. So maybe not this observation, an ironclad result, but maybe in I don't know, maybe in a month, in a few months, maybe in a year. It could come anytime.
Well, you're not going to get much sleep, I think. I hope it comes sooner rather than later, because you're going to need to get some kip. Because having those sleepless nights for a year is going to be a problem.
Yeah, so we are used to these operations at the cutting edge, so I think we'll survive. Thank you.
Fantastic to talk to you. Congratulations to you and your team. Absolutely fascinating. Professor Niku Madhusudan, Professor of Astrophysics and Exoplanetary Science at the University of Cambridge, who is leading this study into this planet K2-18b. It is an exoplanet in orbit around a red dwarf star called K2-18. If you wanted it to be belt and braces, I mean, that is... Come on. Imagine that.
Now, I'm going to stop it there because this is huge. Now, like you said, there are a lot of hurdles in the way. One of the biggest hurdles probably is the government, because if this guy and the Cambridge University go to the government and are like, look, we need to, just to let you know, we have actually found alien life. Like, we've got a picture on the James Webb Telescope of it waving at us. The government will be like, lock that shit down. Lock that shit down. No, we cannot release this whatsoever. So, it's going to be a very long time before we get confirmation or concrete answers. But what do you guys think? Let me know your thoughts and opinions down in the comments below. While you're down there, be sure to jump scare the hell out of that like button. Subscribe if you're new. Tick on my little bell so you get notified whenever we upload. And until next time, guys, I hope that you have enjoyed. I cannot wait to see you in the next one. I'll speak to you later. Peace.